Greetings, we are in first week of May, Taiji Tuesday today. I'm going to be drawing from my 8-month Taiji course, and the movements this week that are being covered are Pong, Lu, Ji, and An, and those are, as we know, quite repeated a lot. Why are those movements repeated a lot in the form? That's because when they put the form together, they thought those were so important that they had to be repeated. As at the same time, they're good places to remember and also segment off the form. Now, we have to remember that the sequences in Chinese martial arts, the series of movements, the forms are their function is to pass down the self-defense techniques. We always have to remember that so that we preserve the forms. Now, when we look at Tai Chi, I just came off of a Facebook warm-up. So I've already done my warm-up. I'm going into the training now. And so what I'm doing is going to utilize and put my weight vest on. I don't know if, I don't think that's going to bother the microphone. Let me just lift it up a little bit. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so the weight vest here, and I have some wrist weights as well. So, I've seen some videos of people using resistance weights, wrist weights and whatnot, and I'm gonna have to get some new ones. But we don't really talk or look at or understand why. Why is it helpful? Why is it helpful? So if we revisit Chinese martial arts theory and understanding, as taught to me by my teacher, Dr. Yang, we understand that resistance has a very valuable role to play in the training of the body, the breath, ultimately the energy and the spirit. So we have to remember that. And the question is how? Well, how? How can, weights and cultivate spirit? Well, I like to call it sacred resistance. And what I mean by that is life gives you all sorts of resistance, all sorts of pressure. And the question is how do you respond under pressure? Well, that means you have to perfect your systems and your responses of responding under pressure. Chinese martial arts, and in this case Tai Chi, is a great way to solidify those techniques and those principles. So I just want to say that if you want to get more information on that, in the future I do want to do a course called Sacred Resistance, which follows along those lines. But today what we're doing is Pong Lu Ji An. I don't know if we're going to get to all of it, but in my course and in my video, we're looking at the internal ball leading the external ball. Internal ball, the dantian, the center, leading the external ball. External ball is going to be what's out in the hands. As I rotate, I'm not moving my hand. My torso moves my hand as a result of my rotation. When I step forward, my body is actually moving my hand forward. I rock forward and rock back onto my legs, right? When I articulate my internal ball, it manifests into the external ball, which is what's going to be in the hands. And then as you can see, as I have these, they're not heavy so that I feel like I have to push through the resistance, but they're just helping me to reinforce. And we're going to see, if you try it, you're going to see how as you move through your session, it's going to encourage the body regulation, the breath regulation, and create conditions for your energetic and spiritual regulation. So body regulation, breath regulation, mind regulation, I like to call the Qigong triad. So what I'm doing first is moving in. You know, what really stuck with me today as I review the video, and I'll link in the description here, is the rollback. And the rollback, so if we look to the movement in the form, what I'll do is I'll mirror you, right? So I'm going to have to go to this side, but in the form, I'd be going to this side. What I'll do is I'll try to mirror you best as I can for Pong, right? U. And we have our signature here. And then G. And on. Right? Now, all of that, and here's the thing, as I mentioned before, the sequences and the movements are repeated because the importance of these movements. What is the importance of these movements? So, because this movement is rooted in self-defense practices, these movements are going to be highly crucial for defending oneself. So, what would that be? Well, the lock, the arm lock, right? The roll back to go into, and you know, there's so many options here, right? But so for the Lu, for the Pong, the lock here, the arm lock, right? So we're not showing applications, but what I really want to focus on is the internal ball. But we're talking about the functionality, right? Functionality. So let's just make sure that we have an understanding of the order of these movements. So in order to do that, let's repeat them. And that's going to be a great exercise because I have all this weight on me. It's going to be great for my body, my breath, my regulations. So starting in Pong, backhand and front forearm are doing a splitting movement. And then I close my chest. Here I'm reaching forward. And what I wanted to mention was I really wanted to focus on this, reaching forward and coiling. And we may get to that. I'm not sure, but we'll see. And then sitting back. And then signature. Inhale. G. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Yeah. Now, what I notice is, like for me, whenever I'm with tension arises, my shoulders tend to lift up. So I really need to focus on the chest bow regulation. That's what I'm focusing on. So I'm going back to Pong, closing chest, Lu, sitting back, signature here, G, and on. And then in a second, I'm going to switch sides. So Lu, or Pong rather, Lu, G, on. Now, if you're new here, if you're not used to the movements, I can't imagine those folks that are watching are, but notice the recycling pattern, the yin and yang that's always happening. Sitting back and moving forward. If you do nothing, let's switch sides. If you do nothing, practice the yin and yang sitting back. Inhale. Exhale, rocking forward. Back, inhale. Exhale, rocking forward. Inhale. Exhale, rocking forward. So I'm doing Pong. You want to try to mirror me on your left side, feel free to do that. Pong. Just go slow. Close the chest. Loop. You're going to find that feels different. From your left to your right, it's going to feel a little different. One feels a little better than the other. Feel coordinated on one side, uncoordinated on the other, and that's okay. So for you at home that's watching, you're not necessarily, I would encourage you to, you don't have the weights, right? But now I'm starting to feel the weight. So that's going to help me, that's going to help encourage the solidification of my fundamentals, body structure, making sure I'm using the whole body, opening and closing the bows. So close the spine, open the spine, rooting, front and back leg balanced, even as I reach, sitting back. Signature. Forward for G, closing spine here for on, starting to sit back for this neutralization. And then spinal wave to facilitate the manifestation of on. All right. So in the video, like I said, I'll share it in the description. In the video, I talk about the internal ball moving the external ball. Let's go back to your right side. So internal ball moving the external ball, okay? Now, we want to get in touch. Put your hands at the internal ball. Now, the legs are holding up the internal ball. Internal ball, essentially your dantian, are propped up on your legs. Inhale back. And exhale forward. Inhale back. And exhale forward. Inhale back. Now we're getting into just the fundamental, the root of the movement. Exhale forward. Let's try that on the other side. On your left, so sit back, inhale. Close your spine, sort of tilt and then tilt the pelvis. Exhale forward. Feel the weight come onto your front leg. Bend the back leg. Inhale back. And exhale forward. Inhale back. Stay in touch with your internal ball, your dantian. And then by the time you know it, you've already done a bunch of repetitions. Let's go to the other side. And you're thinking about something else. You're thinking about your other to-do list and start to forget about your Taiji to-do list. So let's put one hand out, right? I'm mirroring you. You're going to your right. Why don't you put out your right arm? Inhaling, inhale. And let's use the index finger. And we're drawing circles. Exhale, front, forward. Inhale, back. Exhale. The trick is to connect your internal ball to the external ball. If you rotate, you feel, yeah, well, it is moving the hand. And so you want to have that connection and reinforce that connection. So just simple circles. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Nice. Circles here. Inhale. Exhale. Change to the other side. As you turn around, extend the left hand. Inhale back. And exhale forward. Inhale back. And exhale forward. Okay, let's have a little fun here. Let's alternate sides. Circle, turn, and circle. Right arm. Turn back to the center. Circle left arm. Now we're getting into some Qigong. Turn, circle. Sit back. Turn, circle. Now here, when we really break it down into a simple movement, we can start to connect. You know how one side was feeling really awkward compared to the other? When you do this, you can really start to soften those edges, break apart those weird, uncoordinated feelings, and then balance both sides so that it can feel the same on both sides. From here, we can start to go into palm from both sides. So watch this. I'm just going to keep it simple. Let's go to elbow and drop. Turn to the side. Elbow and drop. Really different, right? Because now you're not extending your arm. Elbow and drop. Sit back. Elbow and drop. Elbow and drop. Elbow and drop. Elbow. Okay. Keep breathing, moving slowly. Forearm and drop. Exhale. Inhale. Forearm and drop. Forearm and drop. Forearm. Now you're on your way to start getting and balancing Pong on both sides. might start to feel the body warming up. Let's come to the center. Let's do a little break. Inhale. And exhale. Stretching to relax and open. Yeah, so now, let's see. What I want to focus on is a video that's helpful for the Taiji course. So the Taiji course, what I talked about was the internal ball. Okay, so internal ball to facilitate the external, whether it's Pong or whether it's Lu. Now, let's go into Lu a little bit, because Lu is really challenging for a lot of people. Like, what am I doing? So sometimes people just can only coil the wrist, right? See here, if I just I'm going to get a little closer. If I just coil the wrist, you can see there's a lot missing there. If I coil the elbow and the wrist, you can see there's a little bit more that starts to come in. What about my shoulder, right? Shoulder, elbow, wrist. And then what about if I start to incorporate my spine? Spine, shoulder, elbow, wrist. Spine, shoulder, elbow, wrist. And what if I start to incorporate my lower body, my legs? Right? So when we talk about body structure, we want to have all of the body's bows, the 6 major bows, and all of the minor bows as well, involved in the movement. That's our goal for body regulation. Now, when we're looking at Lu rollback, we're reaching forward, right? We got really forward center, forward mass of the body here. So concentrated on the front, it would be easy to pull the back leg, but we're reaching forward for the grab or for the hook to roll back or attach or connect if the energy is coming in to neutralize. And so connecting the whole body requires that connection to the internal ball. So what needs to happen? Because I'm not just doing a singular plane, vertical plane. I'm not just doing a singular plane, horizontal plane, right? These are combined, right? So I do Lu, because what I'm doing is crossing my center. So if I'm crossing my center, then I have a little bit of a rotation, right? And then I'm having the reach and then the drawback. So that's now the vertical plane. So how do we break this down? We want to break it down into the horizontal plane and the vertical plane. So if you want to follow me, let's do let's go ahead and stick with the right hand, and I'll mirror you, right? So what we're doing now is breaking down the planes of movement, and we're stretched, and we're connecting internal ball to external ball. Not a lot of movement in the body, just making sure the connection is there. And then that's the vertical plane. Let's connect the horizontal plane. And I'm keeping my hand at the dantian just to reinforce and secure my connection of internal ball to external ball. A little bit of rocking back as I circle. Now I have to combine them. So how do I combine those? Well, so I go from Pong, a little bit of a turn inside so that I can turn outside. Okay, just doing a check here. We're about 25 minutes in. So, I just wanted to introduce that. So I'm going to go ahead and go over that a little bit with you here. Let me recenter this. And let's come back to it. Okay. I think we're still going. So we're focusing on this movement, right? So from the camera's point of view, your point of view, you can see definitely the cross through my center. Lower cross through center, upper cross through center. Center line is what I'm referring to. Lower cross through center, upper cross through center. But with that is also a little bit of a rocking back. So if I give you this view, there's a little bit of a rocking back and then forward. Right? So see if you can add those. Like I said, if you want to break it down, just vertical or horizontal, right? I'm going to go ahead and switch sides. I'm feeling the weight here. So. I'll give you a front view for a little bit. And I'll give you a side view. So I should say there's a lot that's going on in my feet. There's a lot that's going on in my legs to facilitate the movement. So as below, so above. As within, so without. So I'm going to leave it there for today. Really thank you for joining, checking it out. Hope to expand this series of Tai Chi Tuesday and more to come. Until next time, may your chi flow smoothly. Howdy. Good. How about you? I'm just finished.